Coming up on the December 1st edition of Carolina Week.
Santa's on his way with lots of toys, but should buyers beware?
Some Carolina girls are cutting their hair as a way to show they care.
And the women's basketball team achieved something Monday it had never accomplished before.
Plus your Carolina Week 4-day forecast.
All that and more.
Carolina Week starts now.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Good evening. You're watching the Wednesday edition of Carolina Week. I'm Amanda Eiler.
And I'm Lydia Garlicove. The holiday shopping season is now in full swing. It's not just how much you buy, but what you buy that's important.
Courtney Robinson's in the newsroom with the story. Courtney?
Parents are starting to take care of their holiday shopping, but they have more to think about than what their kids want. Parents need to check their children's wish list twice to make sure the toys they're asking for are safe. Sylvan Van Story is taking her first steps, and her mom is preparing for her daughter's first Christmas.
It doesn't occur to me to think about toys being a dangerous object, so I'm glad someone else thinks about it.
The U.S. Public Interest Research Group, or PIRG, has been researching hazardous toys for 19 years.
Even one death from toy-related injuries is too much because these deaths are often preventable.
In 2003, 11 children younger than age 15 died from toy-related injuries. All but one were from choking. PIRG focused this year's research on 4 toy dangers: choking and strangulation hazards, toys with toxic chemicals, and
hello there, it's Erica.
Toys that could damage a child's hearing. Of those, the biggest risk is choking.
Parents can check and see if toys are safe by taking an everyday household item like an empty toilet paper roll and dropping the toy through it to see if it fits. If it does, you know the toy could be hazardous.
Owner of the children's toy store, Jeanette Falk, says although safety is a concern, too much focus isn't realistic.
I have more than one criteria, and safety is one of them and very important, but it's not the only one.
Van Story says although she can't control everything,
I think it's great that we have protection agencies out there looking into what is safe and what is not. But at the same time, we all have to exercise our common sense.
This holiday season, she's going to play it safe when it comes to toys. PIRG has been successful in getting dangerous toys off the market. Last year, the Consumer Product Safety Commission recalled 120 toys.
Courtney, what are the toys that consumers should be looking out for?
Currently, there are quite a few toys on the shelves that pose a threat to the safety of children, specifically the water yo-yo ball that you just saw. It's banned in many European countries and Canada, but not the United States. Remember, the younger the child, the greater the risk. Babies don't know not to put things in their mouths.
Thanks, Courtney. For a list of those toys and a link to PIRG's report, visit our website, carolinaweek.org.
We're wrapping up this first week of holiday shopping, and there are mixed feelings about just how merry this season's sales will be. Some retailers say this first week of holiday shopping has been a bit of a disappointment. Despite booming sales on Black Friday, up 11% from last year, the rest of the weekend saw sluggish sales. Industry watchers say it's too early to tell how sales will pan out for the rest of the month, but most analysts expect to see an overall growth of about 4% compared to the rest of the year. We'll get a clearer picture of this weekend's sales on Thursday when the November sales figures come out.
Remember Imran Huda? We introduced you to him last month. He's the Carolina student on active duty with the 30th Brigade in Iraq. We recently interviewed him regarding student awareness of the situation over there. He told us, "I don't doubt for a second that all of UNC's population is cheering for us, but at the same time, I doubt that we are constantly in the thoughts of most students. Families and loved ones of soldiers are the only ones who feel war. If UNC students think of each other as family, and they are aware that some of their own are in Iraq and Afghanistan, then awareness will raise all by itself. The operative word is if. If UNC doesn't think of its own as family, no amount of publicity will make people more aware." Imran also points out that despite the constant violence shown on TV, most soldiers aren't dying. They're coming home. For a full transcript of the interview, check out our webpage at www.carolinaweek.org. The holidays can be especially hard on soldiers such as Imran.
But one organization is making sure no soldier goes unloved. Soldiers Angels sends care packages and letters of encouragement like these to servicemen and women serving overseas. And Angels also visit wounded and ill soldiers like Phil at Walter Reed Hospital. Victoria Carter is the National Director of Public Relations and Donations. About a year ago, she and her family decided to adopt a soldier, and she now manages the outpouring of support for lots of soldiers. She knows the troops appreciate the uplifting messages and the tangible showings of support.
They don't regret anything that they've done, and I don't think that they really want us to feel sorry for them, because they're great. They're awesome. I love them. I do. I don't know what else to say. I just love every one of them.
If you're interested in becoming a Soldier's Angel, we've linked our website to theirs, so visit carolinaweek.org for more information.
Town officials are hoping to hire more soldiers for downtown as well. During last week's town council meeting, Chapel Hill Police Chief Greg Jarvis estimated the department needed to hire about 4 new officers to keep downtown safe. Jarvis said the officers would be used mostly for patrols of Franklin Street during peak hours of the night. But Mayor Kevin Foy said the budget is already tight, with an approximate 25% property tax increase on the horizon. He said security is an important issue to the town, but he doesn't want to rush into hiring more officers without doing the research.
You know, it's not that we don't want greater security downtown. It's just that we need to be sure that we've explored every other way to get increased security downtown.
Foy says the city hires private security officers to patrol downtown, but says they can't replace full-time police officers.
Getting more officers is a top concern for many people in the area, especially after several shootings earlier this week. On Monday, a domestic murder-suicide behind the Friday Center left Randy and Chanel McKendall dead. He shot and killed his wife and then turned the gun on himself. Later that night, there was a fatal shooting at South Point Mall. 23-year-old Harvey Wiggins was the victim. Durham police believe that incident might have been drug-related.
One man saved from death is urging state officials and citizens to consider a death penalty moratorium for North Carolina. Former death row inmate Alan Gell spoke to UNC students Tuesday night in Bingham Hall. Gell was set free in February after nearly 9 years of imprisonment. An appeals court ruled prosecutors mishandled his case. He was acquitted at his second trial. Gell has repeatedly told his story since his release, trying to change the system here.
I've seen all these problems that we have. I've seen that the legislators are aware of it, the judges are aware of it. Everybody in the world's aware of it. Nothing being done about it.
Town Councilman Mark Kleinschmidt is also critical of the way North Carolina uses the death penalty. He's joining the push for a moratorium. After spending 14 years behind bars for sex crimes he did not commit, James Parker is now a free man. UNC students and journalists involved with the Innocence Project helped get him out of jail. Next Monday, we'll bring you more information about the Innocence Project and how it works.
Construction and parking, the two biggest enemies of the UNC community, and now it's getting even worse. Construction started in early November in the Cobb parking lot. This will eventually turn into a 500-space parking deck and a chiller plant. In addition to residents having a little more of a headache, 240 parking spaces, 4 tennis courts, and a basketball court have been taken over. The project is scheduled to be complete in 2006. There might be fewer parking spaces and more construction, but $2 million in federal funding is headed our way to help with area transportation. Chapel Hill Transit is getting a slice of the $23 million grant given to the Triangle Transit Authority from the Omnibus Appropriations Bill. Chapel Hill Transit officials say they'll use the funding to rehabilitate older model buses and beef up the fleet.
Getting these buses back on the street will help us to accommodate everyone in Chapel Hill that would like to ride the bus.
Chapel Hill Transit hopes to add the rehabilitated buses to the fleet by 2006.
Whether you smoke or not, it appears smoking leaves everyone's wallet a little lighter. Duke researchers say when you factor in the cost of health care, insurance, and lost wages due to disability, smokers and their families pay more than $38 per pack. Society pays about $1.50 per pack to cover Social Security and Medicare. Researchers say society would pay even more, but smokers die younger than non-smokers. Locks of Love is an organization that helps girls who've lost their hair because of cancer treatments or other medical conditions.
This week, some Carolina girls showed us cutting your hair short can go a long way. Carolina Week reporter Adriana Hopkins has the story.
What do all of these women with short hair have in common?
1, 2, 3.
Just 10 seconds ago, their hair was 10 inches longer.
Oh my God!
With an audience to watch and friends on site for styling tips,
That's cute.
19 women cut off their ponytails Tuesday in the Pit to benefit Locks of Love, a nonprofit organization that makes wigs out of human hair for kids who've lost their hair because of illness. One Locks of Love coordinator decided to take the plunge herself.
I'm feeling good. It's good. It's good to have it off. So I'm very happy. It's for a good cause.
Despite the rough cuts, all 19 girls left smiling. In Chapel Hill, I'm Adriana Hopkins, Carolina Week.
It takes 10 ponytails to make one wig, so those 19 women made almost 2 wigs. Locks of Love will collect ponytails again during Dance Marathon.
Some middle school students are going global.
Coming up, we'll show you how Carolina is paving the way for an educational journey.
You wouldn't treat a crash test dummy like a child. So why treat a child like a crash test dummy? If they're under 4'9", they need a booster seat. Learn more at boosterseat.gov.
A new education center is taking some students to faraway lands with just the touch of a button. Carolina Week reporter Nora Warren tells us how this innovative center is bringing together students from around the world.
French students at Smith Middle School have a new global perspective. Thanks to technology housed in the Carolina Center for Educational Excellence, these students can do something most can't.
Je suis un enfant unique.
They can have face-to-face conversations with their Belgian pen pals.
I like dancing and I play tennis, and you?
This video conferencing capability is an amazing tool for motivating the kids.
French teacher Robin McMahon says the video chats teach the students how similar they are to kids all over the world.
They like the same music, they like the same sports, they struggle with the same issues, so the similarities really outweigh the differences.
They liked to play basketball and baseball and a lot of the same things I like.
My favorite music is 50 Cent.
But the center isn't just a place for middle schoolers to chat with foreign friends. It also serves as a revolutionary site to teach future educators how to teach. Dr. William Veal from UNC School of Education designed this science lab.
The students can learn how to teach science, learn science concepts using the materials in the classroom.
Here, his students can do hands-on activities they can use with their future students.
This room is providing the opportunity for them to see what is possible once they get out into the classroom.
Equipped with several cameras and microphones, they can also record and review their teaching techniques.
Even in our classes, none of us really have an attention span to listen to lecture for very long.
The center's goal is to teach these students how to use technology to interact with these. In Chapel Hill, I'm Nora Warren, Carolina Week.
The Center for Educational Excellence recently helped Carolina receive the first ever Senator Paul Simon Award for campus internationalization. It recognizes schools for efforts to incorporate a global approach into campus learning.
The U.S. government is calling for a big change in the way it gets information about college students. The government currently gets summary statistical information about student graduation rates, cost of attendance, and course grades from each university. But under a new system, this information would be gathered from individual student records. Critics say the change could put students' privacy at risk. The proposal calls for full implementation in the fall of 2007.
In just a few days, the exam period will officially be underway for all UNC Chapel Hill students. Students are picking up exam kits sent by their parents, and some have already begun studying. For all those who choose to study in Davis Library or the undergraduate library, Davis will be open December 7th through 15th from 8 a.m. until 2 a.m. It will close at midnight on December 10th and 11th. On December 16th, the last day of exams, Davis will close at 6 p.m. The undergraduate library will be open 24 hours December 7th through 15th. It will close at midnight on December 10th and 11th. And on December 16th, the UL will close at 5 p.m.
Carolina will soon be losing one of its finest. Journalism professor Chuck Stone announced he'll retire next semester after 13 years of service at UNC. He's one of Carolina's most widely known and well-loved professors. Not only has Stone received 2 Pulitzer Prize nominations, he's also served as a White House correspondent and opened many doors for minority journalists. Stone says he's excited about the opportunities that lie ahead.
My wife thought it was time that I stepped down and spend a little time with her. And, we're going to Mexico this Christmas for 2 weeks, and we're going to do some traveling.
At 80, Stone is the 3rd oldest professor at UNC.
Well, weathercaster Rob Ellis joins us now.
Rob, I'm really looking forward to cold weather. It's Christmas time. Where is it?
For some people, this is cold weather, but we're actually about normal for where we should be. But what hasn't been normal for us has been the gusty weather that we've seen. And as you can see from this video, Wednesday brought us some windy weather, but will the weekend weather let you blow away? I'll let you know coming up.
It's great that the Salvation Army does so much for the needy during the holiday season.
But you know that isn't all the Salvation Army does. They also run Boys and Girls Clubs.
They also provide relief for those who need it after natural disasters.
And they help the homeless by providing temporary relief and shelter.
They even run summer camp for low-income children.
Need has no season. Please help the Salvation Army help others.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. We have ignition. We have liftoff. Join the next mission aboard the Moorhead Planetarium. For more information on Star of Bethlehem, call 549-6863.
Well, thank you for joining us for Carolina Week. I'm weathercaster Rob Ellis, and as always with Carolina Week weather, we're going to begin with our weather headlines. Let's take a look. We're going to start out, we're going to be getting some calming finally after we had that cold front that moved through our area. It brought us a lot of wind and those gusty conditions that you saw in that video that we had, but finally as we move through the weekend, we're going to be seeing some of those winds calm down, and we're going to be seeing clearing, but it is going to be cool. So Amanda, if you were asking where that cool weather was, it's coming, it's on the way. For Monday, as we move through the weekend and get into the beginning of next work week, we're going to see a Monday mess as another one of these cold fronts is going to be moving into our area. As we have many times, often through this time of the year, we see these mid-latitude cyclones that move through our area. And if I show you the overall picture on our satellite map, I can show you what I'm talking about. You see this very large comma-shaped storm system here. That is what we call a mid-latitude cyclone, and it's actually bringing some snowfall. It brought some snowfall to Chicago earlier in the week. They had about 5 inches of snowfall. So not too early for some people for some snow. And it actually is bringing some lake effect snow to the Great Lakes region in the Northeast. But this very well-shaped comma system is a low-pressure system, and it has a cold front that's draped throughout our area, and that cold front just pushed through, and it brought us all those windy conditions on Wednesday. And it also is going to bring behind it, since it is a cold front, it is going to be moving cold air into our area. Now, what's going to be happening as we move into the weekend? Why are we going to be seeing this clearing? If we look at our surface map, we can see 2 high-pressure systems that have been building over the past few days. And as those build, we're going to have a ridge set up. and that ridge is what's going to keep us clear throughout the weekend. That's also one of the reasons we've had those strong winds. When you have a low pressure system, winds move counterclockwise, and when you have a high pressure system, winds move clockwise, and the wind gets funneled between these two, and that's why we see those high wind speeds in our area. So let's go ahead and take a look for the 4-day forecast to see what we can expect as we move through the weekend. Starting out on Friday, you can see a high temperature of about 56. For some people, that's chillier than others. For me, it is chilly. Overnight low of about 30 degrees, so we're going to be under the freezing mark. But as we move into Saturday, much of the same with a low temperature overnight of about 30 degrees. Sunday, we're going to see some clouds building in as that next cold front begins to move into our area. Overnight low of 45, but here's that Monday mess that we were talking about. We are going to be seeing some rain associated with that cold front. High temperature will bump up a little bit ahead of the cold front to about 57 degrees, but overnight, because we have some of the clouds before the cold front moves through, we are going to be seeing some temperatures that aren't able to get down as low as they would if we didn't have those clouds to keep the heat in. So let's go ahead and talk about if you were going out to the beach to see what's going on down there. Maybe you have a vacation planned before the holiday shopping gets underway. Saturday, we're going to see a high temperature of about 60 degrees, low overnight of 38. Sunday, 58 degrees, 40 degrees, so not much change there. But if you're heading the other direction out to the mountains, we are going to see much cooler conditions, 48 degrees, low overnight of 28. Sunday, we're going to be seeing some rainy conditions and 27 degrees for your low temperature overnight. So there's some of that cold weather, so maybe you should take a trip out to the mountains this weekend if you're wanting to see that, to break out those sweaters again.
Well, we all know I'm from the mountains. I've mentioned it several times on the show, so maybe I'll get to go home and maybe it'll even snow. That would be
nice.
exciting. So,
that'd be nice.
Thanks, Rob.
Well, and coming back from Thanksgiving was so hard knowing that exams were coming up. But the win over Southern Cal made it so much better.
Yes, it did. It certainly felt good to be a Carolina fan. And that Hawaiian vacation seemed to be good for the team, I think, maybe.
I would say so.
After a stunning performance in the Maui Invitational, the Tar Heels were back in action Sunday night. Don't move, don't even blink. Carolina Week Sports will return with all the highlights from another blowout.
The danger dog will bite your ankle. The danger dog will bite your ear. The danger dog will bite your bottom if you come near. That's the danger dog. Dog.
Want to feel appreciated? When you spend time with kids, anytime, it helps prevent crime.
Mr. and Mrs. Jones, Sally's having some behavioral problems.
I guess that reward system isn't working.
Well, the timeouts weren't either.
Well, you're just too lenient.
Well, you're too strict.
No, you are.
Oh, you are.
Where can adults go for ideas when they feel as frustrated as kids? ConnectForKids.org, guidance for grown-ups.
Next trip to the store, look for products made from recycled materials, then buy them.
Call 1-800-2-RECYCLE for your free Buy Recycled shopping guide.
Welcome back to Carolina Week Sports. I'm the laughable but lovable Ann Sexton. There's no rest for the weary, or in this case, the men's basketball team. The Heels return home from winning the Maui Invitational to play the University of Southern California, their 5th game in only 8 days. You'd think there'd be at least a little drop-off, right? Wrong. The Smith Center fans were ready for the Trojans. More importantly, Rashad McCants was ready too. In the paint, he muscles his way to the hoop and makes it look so easy. Then McCants shows off his finesse game from behind the arc. This is McCants' world, and we're just living in it. But Jackie Manuel says, I can do you one better. The hoop and the foul? Carolina fans love that. Jackie responds by taking the charge. That's just good old-fashioned Carolina basketball. Roy Williams can't help but clap, but enough playing nice. Sean May gets medieval on these cats. Then this dish to freshman phenom Marvin Williams, who shows he can throw it down with some style. This one was a laugher as the Heels win by 32. Last year, Rashad McCants showed his total domination with the X. And this season, number 32 is flashing a new symbol. But what does McCants' sign language mean?
Ryan, what's this mean? The rock?
Is that the diamond cutter from the WCW like 20 years ago?
McCants is saying that's what grade he deserves in basketball because he's a dominator out there. He deserves an A.
Means love. One love.
I have no idea.
Diamond Dallas Page. What? You don't watch WCW?
No. Probably it's like the sign for Rockefeller Records, so probably just, I don't know, The Rock. He's solid. He's going to be a strong competitor this year for your team.
A+. If he had more fingers, he'd probably make a plus. A+.
Rashad, Rashad does some interesting things, and he's a unique person, so I figured he might do a unique symbol like that.
The triangle is a sign that was started by Delta Sigma Theta, but it was adopted by a hip-hop group called Rockefeller Records, and it was supposed to be known as the Dynasty. So that's what it represents. He's trying to signify that Carolina basketball is a dynasty.
Dynasty? Yeah. I gotcha. So it's like he's setting up a dynasty now.
As a dynasty of Carolina,
I still think it's the Diamond Cutter. I think you're going to tell me it's the Diamond Cutter.
Appearing at the Maui Invitational to watch Roy's boys during Thanksgiving break, Atan Dean Smith returned Tuesday to greet fans on Franklin Street. Eager fans packed into Carolina sportswear to meet the legendary basketball coach. Smith signed his book, The Carolina Way, as well as some other Carolina merchandise. Many fans had personal memories they shared with Coach Smith.
My dad has a letter that you wrote him the second year you were assistant coach at Carolina, on his dresser still.
Alumnus Seth Taylor says Smith's greatness can be seen in his former players.
All of his players are successful. You don't hear a lot of bad things about North Carolina players. They don't start a lot of fights in the NBA or anything like that.
Coach Smith signed for more than 2 hours, taking pictures and shaking hands with all of his admirers. Much like the men's team, the women's basketball team is also on a roll, and that momentum has carried the Heels to the #2 spot in the nation. When the new rankings came out Monday, Carolina found itself in some unfamiliar territory. It's the highest ranking ever for a program that won the national title in '94, but only reached as high as 3rd in the polls. Wins against #25 Villanova and, at the time, #4 UConn, combined with losses by the numbers 1, 3, and 4 teams in the country, lifted the Heels to #2. They should coast through the next few weeks with some easy wins, but we'll see how they do with a bullseye on their backs. Well, ladies, it's official. We're in the Continental Tire Bowl, and we're playing ACC newcomer for next year, Boston College. So it's in Charlotte, so it's pretty close by for us.
That sounds great. I'm very excited. I've never painted my face for a game before, and the Tire Bowl will be the first time.
Sounds good.
Getting all decked out.
It's a shame that I will still be out of town and miss that.
Thanks so much, Ann. It's that time of year. The holiday season is here.
Deck the halls and trim the tree. Coming up, how Carolina students are catching the holiday spirit.
200 years ago, Lewis and Clark set out to discover an all-water route to the Pacific. But what they really discovered were 58 hospitable nations who could have ended their journey at any time, but saved it instead. As we commemorate their bicentennial, we invite you to walk with them at lewisandclark200.org and see what you discover, because their trail winds through us all.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNCCH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.
Class is in soon, and that means UNC students will be heading home for the holiday season.
Are you ready? Carolina Week asked folks here at Carolina how they're getting into the holiday spirit.
Oh, I'm getting pumped up, getting fired up. We already went by Kmart to pick up the big Santa Claus, and we're gonna blow that sucker up and put it on our roof on our house.
I got a little too many papers to worry about to get in the holiday spirit right now. Well, I'm graduating in December, so this year is extra special because I'll be done and just go in relaxation mode forever.
It's become too commercial. Like, I feel like it's just about like rushing into stores, you know, the last second trying to get gifts for people that are probably just going to return it, you know, after the season's over.
I guess the cold weather kind of helps too. I don't think it's going to snow before we leave, but I guess it sort of helps.
I went and saw a Christmas movie with my family after Thanksgiving with a bunch of people, and it was Christmas with the Cranks, and they were decorating everything, and it made me want to get a tree and start decorating.
Now, we don't have any big plastic Santas in my apartment, but my roommate and I have a tree and we have some decorations, and it's very exciting. Christmas is my favorite time of year.
I know. I'm ready to get through exams and on to Christmas.
Definitely. That does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks for watching. Have a good night.
Good night.